we're currently seeing a real bloodbath with Bitcoin crashing hard. Now even BlackRock is starting to sell, and that's just adding even more panic to the market. But we really need to take a close look at what's going on here, because Eric Trump is currently posting to buy the Bitcoin dip, and it looks like the Trump family is cashing in big time here. The market is in panic, but the big players are raking in the cash. And here comes the big one. Do you know something that we don't know yet? We really need to take a close look at this now, because the movements happening behind the scenes are super interesting right now. Additionally, we're seeing that for the first time since 1979, the federal bank is reporting a loss. We need to take a quick look at that too. But first, let's dive into the Bitcoin market. The Bitcoin price is correcting massively. A lot of people are now assuming that Bitcoin is going to crash down a lot further. No one knows how much further Bitcoin can drop here. But we have to be really quick now and pay close attention to what is happening here. Because if you want to buy the Bitcoin dip and take advantage of these low buying opportunities, it could be that if you wait too long and keep watching, the Bitcoin price might already start to correct back up again. Then you would have missed the opportunity to get in. And that's why Eric Trump is saying to buy Bitcoin during the dips. I mean, you can also just ride it out and sit tight, not trade at all, and just take it all in really chill. That works too. But if you're really saying, hey, I want to build new Bitcoin positions here, then it might actually make sense to act quickly now. But as I said, nobody can know how far it will go down. It may well be that it is still worth waiting, that we will then see, okay, hey, it will now go even further down, and then those who wait will be rewarded. But you can at least start getting in with the first chunks if you say, okay, I want to buy more. You might not need to throw in 100% of your capital right now, but maybe just small amounts. However, completely sleeping through the dip and not getting in at all when you want to buy more could be a bit reckless. Michael Saylor has also chimed in here in response to this on the tweet here from Eric Trump, who says here, both dips in here, he also does the B in a Bitcoin form. So he said quite clearly, buy Bitcoin, probably other coins too, he means here. Because he is talking about dips, well, about different dips. It's not just Bitcoin that dips, but the whole market. Michael Saylor made it very clear. Michael Saylor tweeted again, I'm not selling. It seems like he doesn't care at all that he's sitting on massive losses right now. Many people are now criticizing this. For example, say, hey, MicroStrategy is now making a massive loss. They are somehow 50% away from their all-time high in share price, and MicroStrategy is making a lot more here because they are still somewhat leveraged. That means when Bitcoin goes down, MicroStrategy drops even further. And that's why a lot of people are saying, okay, Michael Saylor has overextended himself. He's gotten too leveraged. Game over. I'm out. The Bitcoin market is completely done. The Bitcoin bull market is over. And now we're heading into a bear market. I don't really see it coming that we are now entering a bear market, but we do have to take what is currently happening here seriously. We can't just laugh at it. We can see more drastic corrections here. But as I said, in the long term, it still looks very, very good. It's just that the short-term sentiment looks really, really bad right now, even though it doesn't really make much sense because nothing that drastic has actually happened. Sure, there was the tariff situation, then there were the hacks from Bybit and other minor issues, but nothing that you could point to and say, oh, this caused the market to completely blow up, or this is what made the market crash down. It's really just a combination of many factors. Then the bad sentiment kicked in, and from that bad sentiment, people started selling, which created even worse sentiment. And that's just how it is. When the Bitcoin price goes up, it goes up because the Bitcoin price is going up. And when the Bitcoin price goes down, it goes down because the Bitcoin price is going down. We see that in both directions. And now there's this Bitcoin news. Someone wrote, holy shit. And this news really spread like wildfire on X and was shared a ton by a lot of people. It says they're currently getting ready to sell. So now the coins are being sent to Coinbase. They are getting ready to be sold, and then it is added here that what is going on with all the manipulation on the market. So here the BlackRock people are accused of suppressing the price so that maybe some whales or something can line their pockets again. And people are now cleverly taking advantage of the liquidation phases to let the prices cascade downwards so that they can buy cheaper later. And a lot of people are currently speculating that the Bitcoin price is being intentionally manipulated to crash down, so that state reserves or something like that can be built up. But I find such theories very, very absurd, and Michael Saylor always sums it up very, very well. With Bitcoin, it is simply possible for anyone to press the sell button at any time, even at night or something like that. And then you can use the liquidity zone here to simply trigger such waves of cascading downwards. If you simply look at where the short and long positions are, you can then make purchases and sales accordingly. And yes, if a few people sell here, and BlackRock hasn't sold much here either, and it's the customers who are potentially selling the Bitcoin, then you can't always immediately speak of manipulation. The amount of Bitcoin being sold is actually ridiculous for BlackRock. That's really not a significant amount. It's very, very small. And I'm not even sure if they're actually selling it because Coinbase is the custodian here. They might just be sending it over to have the Bitcoin managed there. Although there have been many voices saying that stock market experts are pushing down the Bitcoin price and that stock exchanges are manipulating the price. Robert Kiyosaki also made a post 2 or 3 weeks ago saying that the Bitcoin price is being suppressed. Tom Lee even posted about it about a month ago or so, saying in an interview that exchanges are trying to keep the Bitcoin price below a certain dollar amount. I really can't wrap my head around it. I'm not an exchange expert who checks the order books every day to see what's going on. There could be some manipulation happening, or maybe not. Honestly, it doesn't really matter to us. We can just take advantage of the situation and buy in at a lower price. You can't really change much anyway. You can get all worked up about it, but it doesn't do any good. Either you just ride it out calmly, or you take action and buy the dip. I can see you all are really busy buying here. I always see it at 21 Bitcoin. How many people are buying here? So here's the recommendation. I'll put a link below to 21 Bitcoin. How you can buy Bitcoin easily, safely, and simply. With the code Bitcoin Hotel, you can get up to 20% off the fees when buying Bitcoin. And now we have to look at something exciting here. Namely, American HODL explains the current situation so well, the bloodbath, how it's all going on here, and also how things will continue with Bitcoin. That means how Bitcoin is going to perform in the future. Just a brilliant explanation. This is where it pulls you in.
So, as you can see here on the chart, for like 4 years, Bitcoin was in like the hundreds of dollar range. And it just kind of hung out there. Yeah, like maybe it bounced down, maybe it bounced up. But it was basically in the hundreds of dollar range for like 4 fucking years. Then it went to the thousands of dollar range. And it just stayed there. Yeah, it bounced above 10 briefly. But it went in the thousands of dollars range. And it just kind of hung out there. Yeah, like maybe it bounced up, maybe it bounced down. But it went in the thousands of dollars range. Then it went to the tens of thousands of dollars range. And it stayed there for 3 fucking years. And now we're coming to the end of it. What the fuck do you think is going to happen next? You think it's going to go to the $0 range? No, it's going to 100,000 fucking dollars. It's fucking gone. 6-figure range, bitch. It's going 6 figures.
So it explains it here using the spiral chart. That means you can see the spiral here, and you can see how we have basically jumped 1 digit further in the 4-year cycle. That means in the first 3 or 4 years, we were always in the range. Then the next 3 or 4 years, we were in the 1,000 range. And now he's going crazy and saying, hey guys, you're not going to believe that Bitcoin will be hanging in this range for the next 3 or 4 years. We'll definitely have 6 figures. We'll go into the 6-figure area. And that will be the majority of this year. But also next year and the year after that, and then the next few years too. And in 4 years' time, Bitcoin will hanging in the millions range. We have seen it again and again. I mean, you can't say it 100% or anything. It's not a mathematical law or anything. We've just seen it from the past. But American HODL makes it very clear here that we already have a certain cyclicality. And according to the cyclicality, it really looks as if we are chilling out this cycle, especially here in the 6-digit range. And that's why there is no need to panic if Bitcoin falls, because we have always seen that in the past. As it says here, yes, then there was a brief bounce up or bounce down, and then we briefly fell below the range again. These were always the best follow-up buying opportunities if you get out of the current range. So going from this range to that range, or before that, from the 100 range to the 1,000 range, those were always buying opportunities. And that's just the reminder he's putting out there. I thought this was a cool post too, and it shows the whole Trump family. It says here that the entire Trump family has over 1 billion in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it adds they know something. So they know something that we might not know yet, or most people do know it, but a lot of folks might still be in the dark. What American HODL is saying is likely to be true. We're probably just going to correct a bit and then head back up. And all these people who are panicking right now, I'm getting a ton of comments saying, I'm selling everything and blah blah blah. But I've also seen a lot of great comments from people who are like, hey, this is awesome. It's a great buying opportunity. And I've been waiting for this. Because it's really a matter of perspective. Some people who understand how Bitcoin works are really excited right now. And people who are still unsure, who are new to the market and all, they freak out and say, oh man, everything's going crazy now. I'm getting out. It's a bear market. And Bitcoin will never recover again. And that's just panic and a lack of understanding of Bitcoin. And now something else very interesting has happened. It says here in an ARD report that the Bundesbank has reported a loss for the first time since 1979. And it's just like the ECB, which has also reported a loss. And then Lagarde, or I can't even remember who said it. Some central bank said that it wasn't that important because the ECB isn't there to make profits, but to ensure price stability. But they can't manage either. And it looks pretty similar at the Bundesbank. But let me play the report for you real quick, so you can get a sense of what's going on right now. You also have to say that the losses are going to be covered by taxpayer money. And feel free to let me know in the comments if you think it's cool that we have central banks like this still making losses because of their poor asset management.
For the first time since 1979, the Bundesbank is reporting a loss. In the end, the loss last year amounted to 19.2 billion euros. That was the highest loss in the history of the central bank. The year before, it had still achieved a balanced result, but for that, it had almost completely depleted its reserves. The reason is that the Bundesbank took in less than it spent because it paid commercial banks higher interest rates when they parked excess customer funds there. At the same time, the central bank had a lot of fixed-rate securities on its books, but it was hardly making any money from them. They were bonds from companies and states in the Eurozone. The Bundesbank had bought those during times of low inflation on behalf of the European Central Bank to ensure favorable financing conditions. Bundesbank President Nagel said that, despite everything, the balance sheet is solid because the Bundesbank has gold and currency reserves amounting to 267 billion euros. For the next few years, the Bundesbankers also expect losses, but they should be smaller and offset by future profits. So the transfer from Frankfurt to Berlin is likely going to be cancelled for now. Most recently, the Bundesbank transferred a sum of 5.8 billion euros there for 2019. Since then, no money has been flowing into the federal budget.
Peter Beringer had a very exciting assessment here. He says that, as always, the taxpayer will pay the price for the temporary stabilization of the euro bubble. Because the Bundesbank, in light of the ongoing losses, won't be able to transfer any profits to the federal budget for years or even a decade. So, the taxpayer has to cover the expenses. The gains from inflation have long been eaten up elsewhere, so we definitely have a problematic movement here. But I mean, who even buys bonds or anything like that these days? And then people wonder why they can't beat inflation with bonds and things like that. Sure, there might be gold and things like that in the balance sheet, where he then says, okay, we can balance things out a bit with that. But here too, he hit out at Bitcoin. The president of the Bundesbank said that Bitcoin is completely out of the question. We saw that if he had just bought Bitcoin a few years ago, or even just a year or two ago, he wouldn't have had any problems at all. Then he could have bought Bitcoin instead of the bonds. But I get that the central banks can't do that, and that it's way too risky and too volatile for them, and blah blah blah. But it's really strange what's going on here. But hey, let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you taking advantage of the current opportunities to buy Bitcoin? As I said, with the code Bitcoin Hotel, you can still get up to 20% off the fees when buying Bitcoin. We're seeing each other. Bullish greetings from El Salvador. Peace out.